Panther Nation. What we saw last night wasn't just football, it was a statement. Passion, fire, heart, and yes, even a fight. This wasn't just a preseason game. This was a battle to prove who belongs on that field when the real season begins. And trust me, there were moments that made you jump out of your seat, and moments that made you grit your teeth. So buckle up because we're breaking down every hit, every catch, and every bit of emotion from the Panthers versus Browns showdown. Sunday night under the lights, the Panthers took the field against the Cleveland Browns, and from the very first snap, you could feel the energy. This wasn't some slow, forgettable preseason walkthrough. This was a fight for respect, for roster spots, and for momentum heading into the season. The scoreboard? Yeah, it read 30-10 in favor of the Browns when the dust settled. But numbers alone don't tell the story. The real story was in the way guys stepped up, the flashes of brilliance, and the fire burning in some of these players' eyes. Let's start on offense. Bryce Young, cool, calm, and in control, delivered when it mattered. Four completions on six attempts, 58 yards, and a perfectly placed touchdown pass to Jalen Kozero Coker. That nickname? It's sticking. Coker fought for every yard, finishing with two catches on four targets for 15 yards and that big TD grab. And honestly, it could have been even better. He had another impressive reception wiped out by a penalty. The man came ready to play. Then there's T-Mac. Two catches for 43 yards might not sound like a headline stat, but the way he made them? Chef's kiss. On one play, Bryce dropped a deep ball right into T-Mac's breadbasket along the sideline, and T-Mac had the presence of mind to toe drag and bounce like a seasoned vet. He also ran a filthy double move that had touchdown written all over it, but a tip pass at the line threw off the timing. That's chemistry that will only get better with time. And let's talk about Xavier Leah. The man came out with fire in his veins. Sure, he got ejected after mixing it up with Jenkins from the Browns, but honestly, that aggression, that don't mess with me attitude, I love it. For a player that's been doubted, criticized, and almost forgotten by some fans, he showed that he's not just here to fill a roster spot. He's here to fight for it. The run game? Quiet night. Chuba and Rico combined for 6 carries, 17 yards. Not much to write home about there. Defensively, though, the first string unit looked solid. The run defense held strong. The pass defense kept plays in front of them, and Corey Thornton was everywhere. My favorite moment? When the Browns tried to get fancy with a reverse, Thornton didn't bite, shed his blocker, and made a textbook open field tackle for a loss. That's how you make a statement. Not everything was pretty. Nick Scott struggled both on special teams and in coverage. One muffed punt in particular, painful. And when the backups came in, especially the second and third string defenders, the Browns ran wild. The drop-off was obvious. But overall, there was fight. There was heart. There were moments where you saw what this Panthers team could be. Panther Nation, I want to hear from you. Who impressed you the most last night? And on a scale from 1 to 10, how confident are you in this team heading into week 1? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get this conversation rolling. All right, Panther Nation, let's break it down. We gave up 125 rushing yards, and let's be honest, most of those came after the starters hit the bench. Once the second unit came in, the holes in the defense started to show, and Cleveland took full advantage. On special teams, phew, it was rough. Raheem Blackshear struggled on punt returns, and Steve Smith even pointed it out during the broadcast. Catching punts in that stadium is no joke. The lights make it tricky, and you could see Blackshear lose the ball midair. Then ETN faced the same nightmare, except his disaster came courtesy of Nick Scott, who shoved a Browns player right into him. That's why I keep saying Nick Scott is looking like a liability right now. Now, to be fair, there were a lot of rookie mistakes out there. And you know what? That's normal for preseason. You expect young players to mess up. That's how they learn. I'm not hitting the panic button yet. But still, some of these penalties were just brutal. Example? Bryce Young thought he had a free play on an offsides. Perfect chance to take a deep shot to Coker up the sideline. He makes a beauty of a catch, but it gets wiped out because of a hands to the face penalty on us. The penalty was worse than the offsides, so we actually lost yards instead of gaining them. That's the kind of mental mistake that kills drives. Speaking of the offense, after the first string left, things flatlined. Andy Dalton went 13 of 19 for 101 yards, no touchdowns, one interception. He had flashes, but every time the offense built momentum, it fizzled out. Maybe one drive felt promising, but that's about it. Jake Plummer came in and managed to put together a field goal drive, which was something, but overall the offense just didn't feel dangerous. Looking ahead, I expect more rushing attempts next game, but nothing too heavy. We've got to protect our running backs from unnecessary wear and tear. And I fully believe the defense will look sharper when more starters return from injury. Now, injuries. This is big. Derek Brown, torn meniscus and oblique strain, expected back next week. Hunter Renfrow, hamstring strain, day to day, could be week to week. JC Horn hand injury, should be good for Houston next week. Damian Lewis shoulder strain, also day to day. The good news? Brown and Horn are expected to suit up soon. The bad news? Depth could still be tested early if these guys aren't fully healthy. And before we move on, here's something for longtime fans. This year marks 10 years since our unforgettable 2015 season, the last time Carolina made a Super Bowl run. The Panthers are dropping a 2015 season rewind mini doc series on YouTube this month. They'll revisit everything: training camp, the Week 5 win in Seattle, the Thanksgiving demolition of Dallas, the NFC title game, plus interviews with Luke Kuechly, Ron Rivera, Mike Tolbert, and more. It's going to be awesome to relive. But fair warning, Panther Nation, watching it knowing how it ended, that's going to sting. Man, it's bittersweet. Watching that 2015 rewind is going to hit right in the feels. You know how it ends, and it's not the ending you wanted, but the ride was so incredible that you can't help but relive it anyway. It's like reading a masterpiece of a novel, but you already know the final chapter is a gut punch. Still, you press play because that team was special. Now, time for the Panther freeze frame of the day. And look, I had options, but let's be real, y'all would riot if I didn't pick this one. Liat came in with a chip on his shoulder, and he was not here to play around. If you watch the clip, it actually looks worse than it really was, but trust me, Liat landed some clean shots on Jenkins. A few quick ones, too. And yeah, I know, we're not supposed to condone violence on this channel. But hey, sometimes you talk big, and sometimes you get popped in the mouth. Freedom of speech? Sure. Freedom from consequences? Not so much. Alright, let's close it out with everyone's favorite part of the show, Panther Nation Speaks. First up, Rambling Muse says, I'd rather see the defense step up and show out. Defense wins games. Offense sells tickets, and I've already bought my tickets. If Bryce starts the season like he finished, he doesn't even need to get better. If Eddie didn't miss kicks and the defense was a tad better, we'd have won several games. Let's go defense and pray for a good kicking game. He's not wrong. Bryce balled out to close last season. And yeah, if Eddie hits his kicks and the defense holds up, especially against teams like the Eagles and Chiefs, we're probably looking at a few more wins. Sure, that might mean we don't land T-Max in the draft, but still, I see the vision. Next, Wano Wanderer 780 says, I'd rather have the offense show out throughout the preseason because I know if we stay healthy, the defense will be good. I'll be watching the preseason game with you, so let's hope we win and keep pounding. Hey, I hope you were in the Discord with me, Wano. Hope the vibes were right. The audio was solid, and you had a blast watching. I'm with you. I want the offense to get in rhythm, shake off the rust, and lock in that chemistry before week 1. Honestly, for the starters, it looked pretty smooth out there. Next up, we've got Omnivore the Absolute. And yes, I'm triple checking I said that right. He says, I am excited. And honestly, even though the score says 30-10 and it looks bad, I'm still really encouraged by how the Panthers looked. Once we clean up the second string and get some guys back from injury, I'm not too worried. I also think Jimmy should be back there for punt and kick returns. And lastly, shout out to Shedeur Sanders. Great game. Happy to see him ball out despite the criticism he's been facing. I love that optimism. Because, yeah, the scoreboard might tell one story, but if you actually watch the game, there's a lot to be encouraged about. The first unit showed fight, the chemistry is building, and we've got reinforcements coming off the injury list. And hey, I agree, Jimmy back there returning kicks? That could be dangerous in the best way. And big respect for the shout out to Shooter Sanders. I know it stings that he had a good game against us, but man, he's been taking unnecessary heat lately, and to see him silence the noise and go out there and perform, you've got to respect that. That's the kind of response real ballers give. So now, Panther Nation, it's your turn to weigh in. What were your highs and lows from this game? Which injury are you most worried about as we head deeper into preseason? And tell me, are you going to dive into that 2015 Panthers rewind? Relive that magical run, even knowing how it ends? And finally, how are you feeling heading into next week against Houston? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because this is your team, your voice, and I want to hear it. Until next time, keep pounding, stay locked in, and never stop believing.